Hello, welcome. My name is Jefferson Glassy, author of Heaven is Everywhere, and I'm here to talk with you today about 5 easy steps to world peace. I'm speaking to you because I believe that you can change the world for the better. I'm putting my faith in this new generation, and I want to encourage you to just do it. What am I talking about? World peace. Okay, so how many people would like to have peace on earth? Pretty much everybody. Well then, how many believe we can actually achieve it? Maybe not so many. I think we need to believe that we can have peace, or we will never get it. When I talk with folks about this, nearly everyone thinks it's too daunting of a task. So today, I'd like to try a different approach. Let's figure out some simple steps that we can take toward peace and just work on those. I hope you'll agree that everyone will really like these steps I'm about to talk about. Let's first set the stage. How is the Earth doing? How are we humans doing here on our planet? Well, did you know that in the 20th century alone, humans killed 100 million other humans? That doesn't sound so sane. How many animals do you think we've killed and eaten? 50 billion a year. How many trees have we cut down? Billions each year. The atmosphere is in crisis. The oceans are in crisis. Humans have completely changed the planet for the worse. The question is why? Why are humans so insane and insist on killing so many of their brothers and sisters and damaging so much of this only world that we have? If you and I think we're fairly smart, friendly, and loving beings, how do humans end up causing so much destruction? Well, I think it's fear. Fear leads people to act selfishly and not in the interest of everybody, and also leads to divisions among people that cause all these problems. So just assume that might be the case for a moment. We then need to look to explore these fears and how they arise. And we're going to do that, but first I want to take a look at the basic nature of life, the cosmos and the universe, because it's really important, I swear. How many of you have heard of Albert Einstein? Well, sure. How about Stephen Hawking? These have been some of the smartest dudes on the planet, right? And why is that? Because they understand science, and in particular, quantum physics. That is the science of how life works. Stephen Hawking says quantum physics is the most tested of all scientific disciplines and is an accurate description of nature. Well, hey, we should know about this stuff then, right? I mean, it can seem pretty complicated, but here are a few basic principles as I understand. First, everything is connected. At the atomic level, there is no separation between anything. We are made up of atoms and matter that came from the Big Bang. We're just stardust. Everything on Earth was once just part of the stars. We're like drops of water in the ocean, molecules of oxygen in the air, or sand on the beach. The next big concept is this. All particles of being that make us up and make everything up are waves in matter at the same time or at different times. And they come in and out of existence and can be anywhere in the universe at any time or not. These little particles can be in 2 places at once, or 3 or 4, or how many, who knows. But they don't come into being, and this is really important, unless there's an observer. An object does not come into being, and it doesn't become an object unless there is an observer. But this observation is mutual and participatory. For how would an observer become an observer unless it was observed? So creation is a mutually contributory process. Everything that is, that we know, see, feel, touch, taste, or smell, is co-created with everything else that we know, see, feel, touch, taste, or smell. Our world and everything in it and on it and all of the universe and the cosmos are co-created. There's an African concept called Ubuntu that actually is like the underlying principles of quantum physics. Ubuntu basically means, without all of us, there would be none of us. If it were not for the first humans, we would not be. But if not for the air and water, we would not be. If it were not for the animals, birds, plants, and fish, we would not be. We are all one on this planet, which is just a teeny blue dot among gazillions of stars and galaxies. And what do you call this creation? What do you call everything that is? We can call it the universe. Some may call it God. But I call it love. Everything that is and that we are is perfect love. I also call it oneness because there is no separation between anything. Love and oneness. They have an all of us perspective. So, from my perspective, everything is love. The mountains, seas, plants, animals, trees, frogs, birds, flowers, all love. And every moment is love and perfect. We only have every moment. We only have the now, Eckhart Tolle says. There is only the now. Everything happens in the now. Just for a moment, think of the grandeur of nature, the massiveness of infinity in the universe, and your role at the center of the universe, your universe. Isn't it amazing? We are part of the perfection of the universe. We are love. We are perfect. We are the world. No fooling. Seriously. So feel this wholeness, this oneness, completeness. Be in the moment, this moment now. There's no fear in the now. There's no anger, no hate, no jealousy in the now, just peace. When there's no fear, when we let go of any fears or thoughts of unworthiness, let go of worries or insecurities, we have peace of mind. One of my favorite books is titled Love is Letting Go of Fear by Jerry Jampolsky. It's true. When you let go of fear, which we also could call forgiving or healing, you get love, you get peace. And all of these things come out of and are based on love, compassion, truth, peace, honesty, gratitude, acceptance, joy, happiness, friendliness, generosity, fun. Fun is love-based, and on and on. These all have a feeling or perspective of all of us together, wholeness, oneness. And this is what we seek. All anyone wants, I think, is to live a happy life with friends and family. Do fun things. Explore this amazing world. Sing, dance, play music. And do what one is good at. Do one's passion. It's not that complicated. And we have more than we could ever need to keep us happy as a human family. We have incredible abundance. So what keeps us from peace on earth? I do not believe it is human nature to murder, kill, rape, hate, and make war. I do not believe it is my nature or your nature. These things all come from one thing, fear. Fear is the perception that I, me, we are separate or different than you or them. Some may refer to this as the ego, or even evil, but it's not evil. There is a feeling and perspective of us versus them, or me versus you. Here are the things that come from fear. Hate, because no one who understands love can hate. War, because no one who understands peace can make war. Judgment, because that is about believing another is lesser or wrong or bad or evil. Jealousy, which is the fear of losing love. Lying, because no one would lie if they weren't afraid of the truth. Greed, which is the fear of not having enough. Stealing, because no one who truly accepts life and understands love would steal, and so on. These fears are really powerful. Fears cause all divisions among humans. National boundaries are based on fear. War is based on fear. Terrorism is based on fear. And on and on. So what do you think is the greatest fear? Fear of dying? I think there's a deeper fear than that. The fear of not having love. Not being loved forever. But I think there are 5 key fears that we can identify. And once we identify them, we can let go of them. Here they are. The fear of not having love. The fear of not having power. Fear of not having money. Fear of not having a home. and a fear of not having intimacy. Okay, so the first is the ultimate fear, not having love. This could be a fear of not having a loving family or children or friends or not loving oneself. But it's most commonly, for most people, a fear of not having the love of God or being separated from God or love forever. And many religions have tried to claim the way to this love to God, but many wars have been fought over the right religion or the true God. Next, a fear of not having power, meaning not be able to decide how to run one's own life, not having the political or governmental power to construct life the way one wants to. Wars are constantly fought over this search for power. Third, a fear of not having adequate resources, not having a home. Today, that means not having enough money. Money becomes the be-all and end-all, the holy grail of life. Hey, it's okay to have money, but the whole global monetary and financial system is fear-based and ends up being an individual free-for-all to try and have as much as possible, as much money as possible. And clearly, wars have been fought over money and resources. Fourth, the fear of not having a decent place to live, a home. We all want a comfortable home, a place to relax with family and friends, a beautiful view of the mountains or the ocean or the valley. But the fight to have the best places to live leads to problems and also leads to destruction of natural resources. Wars fought over land have happened throughout human history. Finally, the fear of not having loving, secure, intimate relationships, not having deep, close, physical, sexual relationships. Humans are sexual beings, but there's so much insecurity tied up in sex. It seems to me a long, simmering war has been fought for eons between the sexes, resulting in the subjugation of women, rape, sexual assaults, human trafficking, murders, and on and on. So what are the 5 easy steps to world peace? Well, each step correlates to one of the 5 fears. And I'm going to tell you, I really think you're going to like these 5 steps. They're truthfully, wonderfully brilliant goals that each of us would like to accomplish. These steps are really easy as long as we all don't resist them too much. We could have it made. Okay, so here we go. The first step is take the fear out of religion. There are so many good things about religion, right? Religion is meant to be all about love, and that's awesome. Religion seeks to bring people together, feed the poor, help the sick. Religion provides community to so many people. Compassion, unity, and community are all love-based. But did you ever think about the fact that we could have all of these good things about religion without religion? The problem is this. At the root of many religions is fear. Big time. Big fear. The fear of a God who might send you to hell. The fear of not being with God, the ultimate source of all love. The fear of being a sinner, a person who is fundamentally bad. Growing up as a Catholic, we said, Lord, I am not worthy, but just say the word and my soul shall be healed. Then we beat our breast and said, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. My fault, my most grievous fault. We had to go to confession to tell our sins because we were inherently sinners. But all the guilt that we had as Christians about not doing the right thing was just insane, fear-based self-bashing. The God of the Bible is a mean and vengeful God. For example, the Bible tells us the story of the Great Flood and how God killed every single person and thing on the planet, except for Noah and whoever's on the ark, because he got angry. He got angry at the humans that he himself had created in his own image and likeness. Does that sound like a nice thing to do? We were so bad that Christ had to come to save us from our sins. I think a big issue is that many people take the Bible and other holy books literally as the inerrant Word of God. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. But you know what? They're not true. Here's one of the best examples. Based on a lot of research and study, I am absolutely certain that there was never a historical Jesus. The Jesus of the Bible was a myth. The Savior of my Catholic religion was never a living person. If you think about it, was there ever really a human who could walk on water or rise from the dead? basically all of the characters in the Bible, and in ancient lore were mythical, and I could talk a lot more about that. But if it's true, and just assume that it might be, just assume, and you base your whole understanding on life on that myth, then that's not a solid foundation for a personal belief system about life. It just isn't. Look at the giant mess we're having with religious wars today, and throughout history. Arabs and Israelis, Irish Catholics and British Protestants, Sunnis fighting Shia, the Muslim Turks genocide of the Christian Armenians, the Holocaust, Christians killing Jews, the Inquisitions, the Crusade. It goes on and on. I'm telling you, if we could take the fear, guilt, sin, discrimination, and violence out of religion, we'd be on our way. And many more people, the next millennial generation, thank goodness, are also rejecting the tenets of these old-fashioned divisive religions. Who really would want a belief system that tells you you are no good? Who would not want to have a world without religious hatred and bigotry? Who would not want a world where religion did not separate us? Who would not want a world in which our religion is joy? Who wouldn't want a belief system that just believed in us, that believed in love, so that you didn't have to worry about going to hell or being bad or sinful, or that if you had to kill someone else to validate your beliefs? Wouldn't it be better just to believe in love and oneness? I certainly think so. So that's step one. Take the fear out of religion. Step two, put love into politics. It's all about power, right? One faction over the other, one party over the other, one country over the other. We don't want some other humans telling us what to do. One of the worst ways that humans separate themselves from one another is drawing lines on the earth to keep other humans out of their land. But nobody really owns the land. It's totally copacetic to honor and promote cultures, but nationalism is fear-based. Now, there are generally two different ends of the political thought spectrum, liberal and conservative. It's pretty consistent around the world. Liberals are for an open society and greater good for all, against discrimination, and for freedom of individual choice. Very positive about immigration, generally against war, in favor of healthcare and education for all, okay with reasonable taxes, in favor of a strong infrastructure, against the death penalty, and for rehabilitation, and for gun control. Liberals are fine with a strong government, realizing that the government is just the people trying to make everything fair and equal for everyone. These are all based on an all-of-us perspective. In other words, love. Conservatives, on the other hand, are much more in favor of personal responsibility than openness, which right off the bat is me versus you and fear-based. They are much more often in favor of war and fighting against other countries. They are against universal health care and public education. They are less supportive of public infrastructure spending. They are much more discriminatory against minorities, immigrants, women, and gays. They hate taxes and are afraid of the government becoming tyrannical. They want guns for everyone and a strong penal system with the death penalty. They have been against most progressive steps the United States has taken, including desegregation, Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid, the 40-hour work week, child labor laws, the minimum wage, and on and on. In the democratic land of the home of the free and the brave, they have recently been enamored with voter suppression. Conservatives in the U.S. are Republicans, and they are simply much more fear-based than liberals and Democrats. No right or wrong, no bad or good, just love-based versus fear-based. Another thing you'll notice is that conservatives tend to be more religious, so that they are fear-based in most or many aspects of their beliefs. Why would anyone want to have a conservative belief system that said we can't do things together except in war, that you can't trust people or the government, that we don't want to pay to support the government, that everyone should have guns, and so on? I just don't get it. Do we want to be for all humans or not? How do we put love into politics? You know what? We adopt liberal political agendas and strive to have a fun-based society, that's how. We shouldn't worry so much about we can't do this or we can't afford that. The reality is, according to quantum physics, we can create whatever kind of world we want. If we believe in an abundant world, we can have abundance. Want a world with health care for all? Done. Want clean water and air for all? Done. Want every child to have a great education? Done. We can do them all. Thankfully, the new generation is more liberal, and we will gradually be able to put more love into our politics. It will be great. Don't make the mistake my hippie generation did and give up your dreams of peace, love, and a better world for everyone. Okay, step 3. This is going to sound crazy, I know, but we should make everything free. One of the main reasons we have such an insane world is because of money. Our financial system is based on fear. Economics is all about scarcity and demand for goods and services. I've often thought that the financial system is made up of sort of funny money. The values on the stock market go up and down. Prices are driven up by the fear or greed of the traders. Prices go up and down all the time, so what is the true value of things? The answer is that there is no true value, only human perspective value. How much is the air? How much is the ocean? How much is the land? Why is land in some places worth more than in other places, and at different times? Only human perspective based on scarcity determines value, which is inherently meaningless. Money is totally without real meaning. Well, the financial system must do something, right? Does it allocate resources well? I mean, are you kidding? The rich people basically own 90% of the planet. Some with more money than Fort Knox, but many humans live on literally pennies a day and don't even have enough money to eat or take care of their families. Do you really think that some humans are that much more valuable than others? The market system, meaning capitalism, has no conscience. I often say that the last elephant tusk is going to be really expensive. But is that what we want? If we felt that there were more than enough of everything, everything would be free or very low cost. If we truly believed in abundance rather than lack, there would be great supply and always less demand. But since there is a perceived scarcity, so many people who want something are afraid they won't get it. The market determines the way resources are allocated, and it does a very poor job. Nowadays, in our country, students practically go bankrupt paying for school. People have gone bankrupt because of healthcare costs. Everyone at my age is worrying about retirement. Why? Because we're afraid not to have a boring job? No, we're afraid we won't have enough money. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to worry about money? If we didn't have to worry about paying for food, water, healthcare, education, or even taxes? Who wants to pay bills, work at a tedious job for half a century, and be constantly stressed because of not having money? And remember, worrying is just fear too. Why would anyone be against not having money? I know it doesn't seem practical, but remember quantum physics. We can create whatever we want. And then there's this. A simple question posed by the folks from Free World Charter. If you lived in a world where you didn't have to work for a living, were free to do what you wanted, with access to anything that you needed, and were part of a community that supported you unconditionally, would you contribute your labor and skills freely back to that community, even if you didn't have to? My answer is yes. I think we just have to change our minds about what's really important. Money and jobs and corporations and the gross national product are not important. Enjoying life together on this beautiful planet is what's important. And if we can't make everything free right away, let's make some things free, like in other countries. Education should be free. Healthcare should be free. And we'll go from there. Okay, that's step 3. Make everything free. Here comes step 4. People talk about protecting the environment. Well, that's because we humans have decimated the planet. Do you know we're in the midst of another great mass extinction? There have been several before, like the ones that killed the dinosaurs. But this one is different. It's caused entirely by humans. No baloney about that. The step 4 is not just to protect the environment. We must replenish the diversity of the planet. We can't take a defeatist attitude and just try to hang on to what we've got. We have to put our minds together to recreate the diversity of the planet. It won't be the same as before. The carrier pigeons went extinct because we killed them all, and they won't come back. But there are other resilient species, and we can make it better. We can let the planet heal. Who wouldn't want to do that? The reason we have had all these problems with our environment stems from the perspective that humans are better than the rest of creation. I know that was an essential part of my religion growing up. We were taught that all the creatures of the earth were placed here to serve man. We could ride on them, use them for work, and eat them, as many as we wanted. Because God created all of them for us. Because we were the only ones who were created in the image and likeness of God, and they weren't. See, it's that pesky us versus them thing again. Them this time being everything other than humans. I mean, it just kind of seems creepy to me now. It's so arrogant. There also has been a total lack of perspective. We have had such great abundance on this planet. I remember growing up in the Chesapeake Bay region. There was a bounty of fish, crabs, terrapin, oysters, ducks, geese, swans, deer, you name it. A never-ending supply. And they were cheap. So many people could kill them easily and sell them, and citizens would eat them like no tomorrow. But all those are almost gone around here. A few geese fly over and we think, hey, that's great. Not focusing on the fact that decades ago the skies would be black with zillions of geese coming off the fields and headed for the bay, and we're so worse off because we don't have that. Not only that, but on a macro scale, we are denuding the planet and trashing it at the same time. We've replaced about 70% of the natural ecosystem so that we can farm and grow animals. It's bad. Trees bring oxygen and rain. We can't cut them all down or we'll be really screwed. Industrial agriculture is the worst. The way we treat the animals, cows, pigs, chickens, fish, it's gross, disgusting, and soils the planet and the air. If there's anything that's evil, it's the way we treat these animals so that we can eat them. And we dig up the ground for fossil fuels to power our stuff, rather than use renewable energy because of cost issues. There's the fear side of the market system again. Humans are like a cancer on the planet, destroying our one and only host. There are many things we can do to correct this, individually. Recycle, use less stuff, eat less meat. We all know what to do, but we can be lazy. The best thing is to let the concept of oneness guide our decisions. This means, to me, thinking of the planet as one whole living entity, to think of the planet as Gaia. Each of us just a little cog in the wheel, equally important to the health of the planet. Ubuntu again. Collectively, a key step, frankly, is, once again, vote liberal, because it is mainly conservatives who are not on board with taking bold action on the climate. You would think that conservation would be a conservative value, but that would take love-based beliefs. I mean, do you see how all this works? Who would not want a cleaner and healthier planet? And remember quantum physics again, we can create what we want. We can have a beautiful, diverse planet with abundance for all. Okay, so now we get to the last step. I know some of these can be controversial to some people, and I'm sorry if anyone's offended, but I have to do this. I have to say these things. And remember, being offended is fear-based, right? Afraid that one's views are not correct. But step 5 is the most controversial of all because it's the most personal, intimate. Step 5 is to celebrate sex. Let's face it, humans are sex-crazed animals. Don't think that's right? How many people do we have on the planet now? Over 7 billion. We've doubled in numbers since the 1960s. And how did each of those people come to be? Sex. So we know that at a minimum, humans have had sex over 3 billion times in the last 50 years. And I'm thinking that's pretty low. I read that it takes an average 100 times to get pregnant, so that would be like 310 billion acts of intercourse during that time, like the last 50, 60 years. That doesn't count other acts for homosexual sex. People love sex, some more than others, of course, but anyone out there not like sex? I'm not talking, type, frequency, or anything else. Just like it or not. It's part of us. We're sexual creatures. Most animals and plants only have sex during a particular time, but humans do it all the time. While females can only get pregnant during a certain point in their cycle, human females developed concealed ovulation and constant sexual receptivity. In part, that's because women like sex. But here's another reason. Many scientists believe human males have long ago engaged in infanticide, the murder of infants. You've heard that male lions and some other species do that, right? Kill the children of other males. Infanticide has been conducted throughout human history and still does happen in societies that prefer a certain sex in their children. I mean, it's awful. Anyway, the theory is that women develop concealed ovulation and constant sexual receptivity so that males would not necessarily know paternity in an effort to save the women's children. On top of that, males have been killing, raping, and subjugating women forever. It goes on every day, as we can see from reports about sexual assaults on campus, sex trafficking, slew of murders by males of their girlfriends and children, ISIS and sex slaves, sick. It's worse in many cultures. So it seems clear to me that women are afraid of men, in general, walking home alone at night, and even in the boardroom. This fear is totally justified and leads women to having a unique need for security. But why would anyone keep another down if not afraid of them? I've thought about this a lot. I think women are smarter, cuter, less violent, more organized than men. Plus they have that ultimate power of getting to decide when they want to have sex, which drives men crazy. Why can't we just have sex whenever we want? Anyway, all these fears surrounding sex play out in our lives and in everyday human relationships. I think men work out their fears in often violent and aggressive ways, and women work out their fears by focusing on security. Just think where we've come from. In the U.S., women were not allowed to vote over about 100 years ago. In many Islamic countries, they don't even let anyone see any women's bodies because they're considered too provocative. So men have created a world in which they could control women. And sex, in spite of its aforesaid universal popularity, also became dirty. A good girl wouldn't do that, was kind of a mantra for many. That's clearly what Catholics thought when I was growing up. And then some religious folks still believe that. It's even worse in other societies. I don't know exactly who decided that such an important part of human life should be sinful, but it's dumb. The beautiful intricacies of sex stayed in the closet. I mean, really recently, until studies about sex, orgasms, particularly women's orgasms, things like that, were published by Masters and Johnson and others, and that was just in the 1950s. The coming out of homosexuals, the AIDS crisis, the internet, so many other factors have led to more openness about sex. Gay marriage, we're moving forward. But let's go back to the fears involved in sexual relationships, because this is really important. We ostensibly have a monogamous society, 2 people in a relationship. Critics of traditional marriage don't think it should only be heterosexual, but not many people think about the fact, humans really aren't monogamous. So why are we limiting this conversation? I don't think many people have only had sex with one other person their whole lives. Marriage means exclusivity, not openness when it comes to sex. If you get married, you're never supposed to have sex or an intimate relationship with anyone else the rest of your life unless your partner dies or you get divorced. And then you're alone. People are afraid their partner will leave them, and so they get jealous, which is a fear-based emotion. There is nothing about love in jealousy. So let's get this straight. Humans are not monogamous, but in our society, the current relationship system is monogamy. There can be a lot of fear in monogamy in marriage, jealousy, and the fear of being alone. Isn't there a better way? I think so, and it involves unconditional love. That sounds good, doesn't it? Like the love a mother has for her child. Whatever they do, the mother still loves the child. Could we apply that concept to humanity? Instead of being afraid of other people, what if we could love them and love our enemies? Isn't that what Jesus was supposed to have preached? And how would this work in intimate relationships? Well, there's a concept that is the equivalent of unconditional love in relationships, and it's called compersion. It means that if you love someone, you love what he or she does. In the context of human sexual relationships, it means that if a partner wants to be with someone else, then have sex. in a responsible, open, honest way, that does not lessen the love or commitment to that person. It enhances the love. Compersion is extremely love-based and is the opposite of jealousy. Compersion comes out of the polyamorous community and essentially means that relationships can have more than two people, with all relationships open, honest, and fully known by all in the relationship. That is ethical non-monogamy or polyamory. It's not polygamy, which is one man and several women, and is a relationship system that has been abused. I know many of you, I'm sure more women, are grossed out by this, but just think about it for a second. This really gives much more power to women. I believe we should have a matriarchal society. There is more security in numbers and less fear of being alone. New relationship energy, or keeping things fresh, is really important for everyone. Imagine that you could hang out with someone who wanted to go to the movies or play bridge or go to bed early or stay up late when you wanted to or not. And there was always something to hang out with or sleep with. Imagine never having to be jealous, but all relationships being open and honest, and no one ever being threatened by another person. And security would be enhanced too, because if a partner left or died, there'd be another one, 2 or 3, still to help you out and help support you. A woman's desire for a resourceful mate to help protect her and her children would be satisfied multifold if there were more than one partner. You'd never have to fear being alone. You wouldn't have to make a lifelong decision to stay with one person or be potentially alone when you got old or died. There'd be plenty of people to pay the rent, take out the trash, clean the house, walk the dog, and watch the kids. And people wouldn't have to be alone in their old age. It would be awesome. So those are the 5 easy steps to world peace. Take the fear out of religion. Put love into politics. Make everything free. Replenish diversity of the planet. And celebrate sex. These are concepts that initially sound weird. And then when you start to think about them from the perspective of love, you realize how great they would be. How we could transform our world to what everyone really wants. And if we humans want something to happen, we can make it happen. Want to travel fast through the air far away? Done. Want to talk with someone thousands of miles away? Done. So want to live in a peaceful, joyous, connected world? We can do it. I believe in you. I believe in the younger generations, but I believe in all people. I believe you can do it. We can do it. But you have to believe we can. We have to believe we can. And I'm just one guy here to tell you that we can. Let's just do it. Thank you so much.